Today's episode of The Edward Show is about how long it takes to rank on Google. I'm going to share how long it took me to rank for keywords across 4 websites that I have. I've been doing SEO for the last decade. I've done it for some of the biggest companies in the world like Microsoft, Procter & Gamble, Time Inc., so many others, lots of small businesses, and my own websites. And the results that I'm going to be sharing are from my own sites. The takeaways for this episode will be keep building while doing search engine optimization. Building meaning working on your brand or your product, or making more SEO pages, or working on improving those pages or improving your website. And the takeaway is SEO is great. When you rank number 1, you will typically stay at number 1 for years, and it does not take that long. But if you're wondering how long you should wait, that's what I'm going to be sharing on this episode of the show. The first thing to note is that you can rank a lot faster for trending topics. Something that I have seen is if you find a keyword that represents a topic in your niche that is trending, and you make a page targeted directly for that keyword. The keyword is in the URL slug, it's in the page title, it's in the meta description, it's in the H1, it's in the alt text. If you do that, you have a good chance of ranking really fast. I did this, I ranked number 1 in 5 minutes after publishing the article. It was crazy. I talk about exactly how I did this on episode 82 of this podcast, how I outranked the New York Times in 5 minutes while living in Ukraine. A great episode. The thing about keywords like this, though, is even if you rank number 1 and you see it for yourself as number 1, and even if people you know see it as number 1, it will still take a while to be stable. That specific keyword, it took 5 weeks for it to stabilize at number 1. It was consistent on the first page within the first week. This is a keyword within a trending topic, a very highly trending topic. It was within the first page of Google within the first week, but then it fluctuated, went up and down for 5 weeks before it stabilized at number 1. Trending topics are different though. Trending topics always perform better no matter the platform. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about how long it takes to know if you're going to have good results for TikTok and Instagram. This episode is about SEO, but still for TikTok and Instagram, if you are targeting trending topics, you will know even faster than normal. Here's another one of my sites. I was so hyped. The keyword that I had targeted with a page, I made a page for another keyword, a very highly trafficked keyword that gets us so many users today. And I was so hyped because we ranked on the first page of Google within the first week of me publishing this page. So here's what actually happened. The first week that the page came out, it was ranking number 8. And it was consistently ranking number 8 for its first 3 weeks. And then it just went up and down and up and down and up and down, and it kept fluctuating. It took 5 months for the page to rank number 3 on Google. And then it went back down and then back up. And now 20 months later, it's consistently between number 1 and number 2 for the keyword. Some are fast, some are slow. Here's one that was a lot faster. I'm hyped that I'm ranking number 1 for this keyword because I talked about wanting to target it just a few months ago on the podcast, and now I'm ranking number 1 for it. So I have a weekly growth hacking newsletter, edwardsturm.com/newsletter. And I said, you know what I want to do? I want to rank number 1 for growth hacking newsletter. And here's what I did. I put growth hacking newsletter in the page title, the meta description. I put it in some of the copy on the page, and it was my normal newsletter landing page. And then I submitted it to a bunch of directories, a bunch of newsletter directories, saying it was a growth hacking newsletter and digital marketing newsletter. Within the first month of putting up the page, it was number 2. Here's what happened. The first week, it was number 15. So that's the second page of Google. The second week, it was number 5. The third week, it was number 7. And then the fourth week, it was number 2. And then it just stayed at number 2. It stayed at number 2 for 6 months. And after 6 months, it made it to number 1. I didn't even know. I had stopped checking. But now it's number 1 for the keyword, growth hacking newsletter. My newsletter, edwardsturm.com/newsletter, is number 1 for the keyword growth hacking newsletter. That one took 6 months, whereas the one that I just shared with you took 20 months. But that one's been fluctuating. The one that took 20 months, it's been fluctuating between 1 and 3 for a very long time. Some weeks it might be 1, other weeks it might be 3. That keyword has been getting, that one's for a web app, the one that took 20 months. That one's for a web app, and even at number 3, it was getting us lots of users. Some keywords are a lot shorter. My personal website ranks number 1 for NYC website migration SEO services. That's something that people search. What happened was I saw another one of my pages was ranking for this So I said, let me just make a page targeting this one specific keyword. So I did that. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. Put up this page targeting this specific keyword, but not much changed for the first couple of weeks. For the first week, I was ranking number 25. That's on the third page. The second week, number 27, I went down. I was ranking worse. The third week, number 22. The fourth week, I made it to the second page at number 16. Fifth week, number 19. Sixth week, number 16. Seventh week, I went back onto the third page at number 24. And then here's what happened. This is how it happens. The next week, after going back down to the third page, I jump up to number 1. And I've stayed at number 1 since. And that was 6 months ago. So it took 8 weeks to rank number 1. And then I've been at number 1 since for the next 6 months. And between week 7 and week 8, I hadn't been on page 1 of Google before making it to just number 1 for the keyword. All right, this is another one of my sites. I've shared 2 sites now. So here's another site. This site has crazy rankings. One keyword, I came out with a page for it. It performed abysmally. It was so bad. And I'm like, oh no, this was years ago. I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I'm going to rank for my keyword. It took me 10 months to make it to the first page of Google, and then 19 months to make it to number 1. And then that was like 3 years ago. I've been at number 1 since. I haven't touched that page at all. I haven't updated it at all. And it's just stayed at number 1 for 3 years. It's so amazing. And the amount of customers, this is a keyword, I'm not going to say the keyword, but this is a keyword that targets large groups of people. The amount of customers that this single keyword has brought us for 3 years, users and customers, is crazy because it's just stayed number 1 for 3 years. This is why I like SEO, because you do SEO and you put out a page and it doesn't even take you that long to put out a page, especially if you're doing bottom of funnel SEO where pages can be a lot shorter. And you just work on other aspects of your website. And as you're working on other pages, your pages continue to rank well. They rank better and better and better. And you can target keywords that represent such huge amounts of users. They might have small search volumes, but the people behind them represents huge companies. And that's what this keyword is. I get so excited by the potential in this, especially if you make a page that shows that you really understand the person who is searching that keyword, the things that can happen you wouldn't even believe. Another keyword, this is a super highly trafficked keyword. For the first couple of months, it wasn't ranking at all. And then once it started to rank, it took another 6 months to be at number 1. And it's been at number 1 since then for many, many years. Many years it's been at number 1. This single keyword has resulted in millions of users. Crazy. And there was a page that didn't take me long at all to make. It probably took me a day when I made it. Another keyword, and this is still for that same site that crushes, took 7 months to make it to number 1. It's been at number 1 since, and that was years ago. It took 3 months for that same keyword to get to the first page of Google. On the 4th month, it went down to the second page. And then a few months later, it was at number 1. And that's just stayed at number 1 since. I'll share one more keyword from a different site. This has been a great keyword. This keyword was so directly targeted to the value proposition for this website and for this application that this keyword was for. Right away, it ranked number 40. The first month, it ranked number 40. The second month, it ranked number 8. It went from 40 to 8. The third month, it went from 8 to 3. And then the fourth month, it went between 2 and 1. And it's just hovered between 2 and 1 since. And that was also years ago. So the takeaways, target keywords directly. Keep building while doing SEO. Keep working on your brand and your product, working on your pages and on your website, building links, doing different things to build links so you can increase your domain authority. Though with a lot of the keywords that I shared, domain authority didn't even increase that much between when the pages were made and when they ranked number 1 for the keywords. But you always want to work on domain authority here and there. And then the last takeaway is when your pages rank number 1, they will typically rank number 1 for years. And if not number 1, they'll rank between 1 and 4 for years. So cool how this works. And how I target keywords, typically I go after keywords that are at the bottom of the funnel. Users know what they want, but they're looking for the brand that will give it to them. And then basics of on-page search engine optimization. Clear information architecture. I talked about that on a previous episode. So I'll have a hub folder that describes all the keywords that are in that hub folder, all the pages that are in that hub folder targeting each keyword. Each page is meant to target a specific keyword, and I put that keyword in the URL slug, in the page title, in the meta description, in the H1, in the first sentence of the page, and typically in the alt text. I forgot to say before, in the first sentence of the page, I put in the first sentence of the page too. That helps the searcher. The searcher arrives on the page, they see their keyword right there in the first sentence, and they know this page is for them. That's how I do it. I have so many number one rankings. And the thing to realize is, you might have a great idea for doing SEO, work on that idea to the best of your abilities, and then accept that it might take a couple of months to rank well. But just know that when you do rank, you will retain that ranking for years. You will retain that positive ranking for years. That's one of the advantages that I have from doing SEO for so long, is I can just see how I've stayed number one for these keywords for years and years and years. I am constantly surprised at how resilient my rankings have been over the years. I believe it's because I target keywords very precisely, and also because I heavily go after bottom of funnel keywords, which are a lot less likely to be disrupted. Lots of people don't realize how lucrative bottom of funnel keywords are because they typically get less search volume, so they're not as highly targeted as top of funnel keywords, but they convert a lot better than top of funnel keywords. They're this hidden gem, and that's one of the things that I do super well. Anyway, if you're not ranking for your keywords immediately, don't worry. These things take time. That's what I wanted to share on this episode of The Edward Show. This is episode 403 of my daily digital marketing podcast. Tomorrow, I will be talking about how long you can expect results on TikTok and Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.